The Shadow Under My Bed. True horror story, scary audio story. If you ever hear someone whisper your name from under your bed, don't look. I made that mistake, and I've regretted it every single night since. What you're about to hear is a true story. At least that's what I keep telling myself. My name is Ethan. I'm 21 years old. 3 months ago, I moved into an old apartment because the rent was unbelievably cheap. Before handing me the key, the landlord smiled strangely and said only one thing. Open quote. If you hear noises under the bed at night, ignore them. Close quote. I laughed. I thought it was just an old man's weird sense of humor. I wish I had listened. The first night was completely normal. The second night, at exactly 3:03 a.m., knock. A soft tap came from beneath my bed. I froze. A few seconds later, knock, knock, knock. 3 slow taps. I switched on the light. Nothing. No one. I checked under the bed. Just dust. I convinced myself it had to be the building settling. The third night, the knocking returned. This time it sounded closer. Almost. Directly beneath my back. I stayed perfectly still. Then I heard breathing. Slow. Heavy. Like someone was lying under the bed with me. Every instinct told me to run. Instead, I leaned over the edge of the mattress. Just as I was about to look underneath, a whisper stopped me. Open quote, don't. Close quote. I jumped backward. The voice came from under the bed. I spent the rest of the night sitting against the bedroom door. Morning came. I looked again. Nothing. No footprints, no signs of anyone. Just empty space. I started sleeping with every light on, but things only became worse. Every night at 3:03 a.m., the knocking grew louder. Soon I began hearing footsteps inside my bedroom. Slow footsteps, circling my bed. Whenever I opened my eyes, the room was empty. One evening, my phone accidentally slid underneath the bed. I grabbed a flashlight, knelt down, and shined the beam into the darkness. At first, nothing. Then, a pair of eyes opened. They were staring directly at me. They didn't blink. They didn't move. They just watched. I screamed and stumbled backward. When I looked again, the eyes were gone. I told myself I was hallucinating. Stress, lack of sleep, anything but the truth. The next morning, I bought a security camera. That night, I let it record while I slept. When I reviewed the footage, my blood turned to ice. At exactly 3:03 a.m., the bed slowly lifted several inches off the floor, as if something enormous was pushing upward from beneath it. Then the recording filled with static. When the picture returned, I was still asleep. But one thing had changed. There was a dark hand resting on the edge of my mattress, right beside my face. I packed my belongings immediately. As I dragged my suitcase toward the front door, I heard a voice behind me. Open quote, don't leave me, close quote. I turned around, no one. The bedroom door slowly creaked shut by itself. I ran downstairs and found the building's security guard. When I told him everything, his face turned pale. He asked quietly, open quote, you heard the knocking too? Close quote. I nodded. He sighed. Years ago, he said, a little boy disappeared from that apartment. And the police searched everywhere. They never found him. I asked why. The old man stared at me for a long time before answering. Open quote. Because when they finally moved the bed, close quote. Open quote. There wasn't any space underneath it. Close quote. I felt every hair on my body stand up. That made no sense. The next day, he showed me an old photograph of the apartment. The same bedroom, the same furniture, but the bed sat directly on a solid concrete platform. There had never been room for anyone or anything to hide underneath. That night, I checked into a hotel across town. I thought I was finally safe. At exactly 3:03 a.m., my phone rang. Unknown number. I answered. Silence. Then, knock, knock, knock. The exact same sound, coming through the speaker. I hung up immediately. Seconds later, a text message appeared. It contained only one sentence. Open quote, you forgot to look under the hotel bed. Close quote. My heart nearly stopped. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't move. I didn't dare look down. I stayed awake until sunrise. The next morning, there were 3 fresh scratches on the wooden floor beside my bed. Each one looked like something with long fingernails had crawled out during the night. I changed hotels. Then I moved to another city. Then another. It didn't matter. Every place I slept, every single night. At exactly 3:03 a.m., the knocking came back. Last week, something changed. For the first time, it didn't knock. It spoke. In a voice that sounded exactly like mine, it whispered, open quote, There's room for both of us now. Close quote. I haven't slept since. And tonight, if you're listening to this story in bed, do yourself one favor. When the clock reaches 3:03 a.m. and you hear 3 soft knocks, whatever happens, don't look under your bed, because it may already be looking back at you. Outro. If you enjoyed this horror story and want to hear more terrifying tales every week, don't forget to like, share, and most importantly, subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us reach our goal of 1,000 subscribers, and every single subscription means the world to us. Thank you for listening. Sleep well. And before you turn off the lights tonight, maybe check under your bed. Or maybe don't.